Now I'm just gonna say it like off rip before we get into like the meat and potatoes of the video. Cliche tropes can be extremely fun if handled right. Originality doesn't always equal success or intrigue, and neither does sticking to the basics, but tropes are inevitable to run into whether you're reading, watching, or creating. But there are a few very special few tropes that I just utterly despise. Exhibit A, the webtoon girl boss. Now listen, webtoon has some gems. If not, a lot of webtoon's actual comics are really well written and fun and interesting, but there are those few that are literally just copy and paste the exact same story, and it's driving me insane. And in these stories, there's often the same girl character archetype. The girl boss who cannot be bended by the reality of where she's been placed, and it's often an isekai. If you've been on Webtoon's platform for any amount of time, then I know you've come across this girl. I'm not here to tear down anyone who has created this character. In fact, I know why she exists. I just don't like her personally. But the Webtoon girl boss, she's like either really not relatable at all, or they're trying too hard to make her relatable, so she is borderline non-existent in the realm of existence, personality-wise. She's somehow a CEO at 19. She's dressed like, a Pinterest board has vomited on her, and every single man in the story is after her cheeks. They desire her so badly. They want her so badly. And in the cases where she has no personality, I don't know what they're seeing. I mean, the character is often really pretty, so I can see why that'd be enough. But I can't stand this character because the universe seems to bend around her. There are no consequences for anything that she does. And let me just say, being a strong female lead does not mean being perfect. And I love when all of the characters that I love actually have flaws. And that's what makes them a lovable character, is the fact that they have something wrong with them, or there's something that they're insecure about that makes sense. Like, there's this one comic I was reading, and the girl was like, I'm so ugly, I'm so hideous. And she was drawn as the most conventionally attractive woman I've ever seen. And it was like, okay, so why are you lying? Why did you open your mouth today and decide to lie? And I know that whole bit is all about personal perception. I myself struggle with personal image issues, so I can see why maybe she feels bad for being quote unquote ugly. But no, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Let's move on. As I was saying, this character is typically portrayed as a very attractive, beautiful, successful individual. And what's really trending right now, and has been trending for like the past 4 years, is being born as a villainess and then magically changing your fate, or having to change your fate and at the end of the story, because the villainous character is often killed, and then the character from the real world is isekai'd into this villainous character and has to magically charm everyone and live. That's the goal of the comic. And you know what, I've read a few of these, and there is one that I really like. I don't remember the name, but I'll probably like put a picture up or something. But other than that, I can't get behind this trope. It's not entertaining for me. Like, there's no like pushback. The world just bends to your will, and that's not fun. That's not fun at all. Like, please let this die. And I've seen a few comics actually do like a joking take on this, like it's not taking itself too seriously, and that's the only way it works, is when the story's not supposed to be like high stakes or anything. It only works if this is a borderline comedy, and that's the only way I'm here for it. And barely that, because there's too much of it. It's such an oversaturated genre on Webtoon right now, and it's driving me crazy. But as I mentioned before, this character often doesn't have any flaws or any actual problems. They kind of just run into things. Like, the antagonist is usually like an outward force, like having to become queen or something, and she has to like avoid that. And it's just like, it's not satisfying to the brain when there's like no actual consequences for your actions. And yeah, the Webtoon girl boss is just basically a wishful fulfillment doll with dialogue. She's not a person, she's not a character, she's a fantasy in high heels, and it just like it doesn't make sense to me. It's not the storytelling I like particularly subscribe to anyway. But like, if it was done with some taste, mayhaps, and I've as I've said, I read a few and I like them. Those ones I really like because it's kind of like a joking take on the whole thing. But yeah, it's always the isekai. Like, she died, she got hit by a truck, and then she woke up in another world with some strange Catholic-esque religion, and then she's a villain, and that is made to be hated, by the way. So like, we have to root for her more. Doesn't make any sense to me. Spare me. You are not a girl boss, you are a joke. Exhibit B, the disposable black girlfriend. Now, this one gets under my skin nearly every time it is introduced, and I can always tell when she's being introduced because you know she's not going to be there long. The disposable black girlfriend trope is when a black female love interest is written like a prop. She exists only to orbit around the main character, and if she disappears, nobody notices. And if you do notice, she was your favorite character, and you preferred her over the actual interest, the love interest that the main character winds up with. But this is not representation. This is tokenization, and it's like the writers are saying, look, diversity, here, I am throwing it at you. Take it, you little rat. And they're doing this without actually giving the character a personality, a backstory, or anything that really makes her feel real. Or if they do actually add some kind of characteristic of like remembrance, like something that makes you remember this character, they try to find some sneaky way to remove her from the story. And I feel like an opposite version of this is Amber from Invincible. Why did they make her black? She was one of the most problematic characters in the story, aside from this person that I'm just going to put on the screen and I'm not going to name her. She was literally so problematic for no reason. This man is running outside, risking his life. She was like Black Mary Jane. And in the original comic, she's not even black. What was the point of changing her race? I'm blinking at you. You know exactly why you did that. You know exactly why you did that. And I'm bold for even saying that before somebody come up, it's not that serious. You're not that serious. I know you don't take your life seriously. Go to college. Get a job, buddy. Get off your phone. And aside from the Amber tangent I just had, don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong with a black girlfriend character. I'm black. I be black. I do black. Black is me. Black is she. Black is her. Black is him. Black is they, them. Black is we. But the problem comes in. The problem lies in the way that she is treated like a plug-and-play accessory, instead of being a human being in the story that we care about, and care if you wind up with the MC, the main character. Love interests of color deserve the same dimension and development as anyone else, and I'd say in recent years it's gotten a lot better, but you can still see that hint of like, I see why you wrote her that way, or where did she go? The season over and now we're being introduced to a new love interest. What happened? I'm blinking aggressively at you and squinting at the same time. You will notice me. And instead of getting an actual character, we get a placeholder, pretty, supportive, and replaceable. And that I hate. Exhibit C, evil for evil's sake, a villain. The mwahaha villain, the one who exists to kick puppies, twirl their mustache, and cackle in the shadows. I will say, I love this villain. Why is it on this list? I'll get to why. But I love this villain in the right placement. I love this villain placed in a kid's cartoon. I love this villain placed in a comedy. I love this villain placed in a specific season where there needs to be an upbringing of joy. I do not like this villain when it is placed in a serious IP with serious values and goals. And what do you mean you're just evil? What do you mean you're just evil? This is the oldest and laziest tropes in the book. The villain without a motive isn't scary, it's boring. It turns the entire story into a Saturday morning cartoon, and it's like, not good. Unless that's the tone you're going for, as I mentioned before, it drags literally everything down. Like, for me, if I were to put one of those villains in my comic, I would have to do it with such finesse. Like, the Heartwell Hymn is funny at times, but the overall arcing tone is not, let's just go save the day. It's, how are we surviving until tomorrow? I have an hour of sleep, and I have work in the morning for a 12-hour shift. That's the aura of the Heartwell Hymn. So me trying to place that villain in my IP just doesn't happen. It does not work. It doesn't work for a few reasons I will now list. The best villains are the ones we remember, are the ones like who challenge the hero on a moral and emotional level and have motives that we can understand even if we don't agree with them or relate to them. They force the audience to think. But the evil because evil, that villain, that guy is cheap. That's like diet storytelling. That's like a cardboard villainy, like level. Like you can't tell me that we're on the same page here. Unless it's applicable to the right source, you know? Like, if you're putting this villain in, like, a single season of, like, I don't know, Word Girl, let's go with that. But if you wanted to say that I'm evil for evil's sake and you pulled up in the Jujutsu Kaisen universe, you better be dang sure that you're a curse and not one of the sorcerers, because you're getting beat up by anybody who's ever reviewed anything. Like for me, evil for evil's sake and like a more serious like piece of media, it kills it. It kills the tension. It kills just how serious everything could have been if there was a reason behind your actions. I think the evil for evil's sake trope can be done extremely well in a quote-unquote serious series or something if what that character represents itself is evil and not a personality. This is a person. If this character is meant to be representative of evil, absolutely, because I can see why their actions make sense. They're not a person, they're a plot device essentially. But if your character has a personality and all this and they're evil for evil's sake, I can't get behind it, because it doesn't make any sense to me. I know a lot of people these days are really why does everything have to have a meaning? Why does everything got to be that deep? But the homie said, every action has its equal opposite reaction. There is always going to be an innate reason for why someone is the way that they are. It's dependent on how important that is. And for a villain, I feel like that's pretty important, because how did you get this evil? How did you wind up this way? I feel like one of the, just evil for evil's sake tropes that work really well is Mahito from Jujutsu Kaisen. Bro was just evil. Bro was just out here killing people, just doing things, just doing the things, doing the dang thing in the most evil way possible. I feared him more than I feared Sukuna. Bro, but for me, by the end of it, Sukuna was literally a joke. Oh my god, I'm not gonna talk about that right now. But I wasn't afraid of him anymore. Literally after season 1, I was like, bro, if you don't sit down somewhere, why are you doing all of this? What is your point? What is your point for being? I feel like they're both very much evil for evil's sake, but Mahito was handled with the most delicate care. I feel like Gege was rubbing his head, here you go Mahito, you better be the baddest in the land, and then he was just flicking Sukuna with evil juice. It wasn't the same fear. Mahito incited anxiety in me. When he showed up, I knew there was no saving anybody. Nobody was living. For Sukuna, he's just demolish it all type beat. Mahito had plans. Mahito was about that business. He was doing evil for evil's sake, and we knew why, because that's just who he was. I could make an hour-long documentary on why I prefer Mahito as a villain. Sukuna is cool. I feel like he has the drip aura, you know what I mean? He's the guy who pulls up with the gun and he's give me all your money, and you give him all your money. Mahito's the guy who pulls up with a knife or a blunt end object, and he's I don't want your money. Get naked. And even in that explanation of their differences, I feel like it seems like Sukuna has more reason, but he just robbed you just because he wanted to. He don't even need the money. Mahito wanted to inflict pain and chaos on your life. Mahito just wanted to watch the world burn and be the one to do it, and it worked for his character because that was what he was meant to represent. Pure evil. Here are some other examples I think really get away with the whole evil for evil's sake thing. But besides these guys, if your villain is just out here torching schools and stabbing people for no reason, they become less of a villain and more of a cardboard cutout with a talk box behind it. Exhibit D, the Hot Priest. This one is genuinely so infuriating. As a person of faith, holding my hand up, praise God. As a person of faith, seeing Christians, Catholics, actually, you know what? In general, religion being represented properly, it always makes me happy, because you took the time to understand someone else's personal beliefs and you gave them the benefit of the doubt to be actually, no, let me just be nice here. Let me just represent you properly. The day-to-day of what it is to be a Catholic, a day-to-day what it is to be a Buddhist, a day-to-day what it is to be nihilist. Whether your beliefs or your unbelief, people took the time to understand and develop an understanding of what you do daily, what your life is like, what it really means, what the core of this means, for you. But the Hot Priest just completely demolishes, perverts, and botches, lobotomizes what it is to be a person of faith. And it It makes me so angry. It makes me so genuinely upset. And the hot priest trope shows up whenever writers want to sprinkle in a little bit of that forbidden spice. You take a priest, you make him handsome, and suddenly the entire show is about lust, temptation, or a plot twist. He's secretly evil. Why is he always secretly evil? Why are you in the house of God doing wrong things? And from a Christian/Catholic perspective, it's just lazy and insulting. Because instead of exploring what faith actually means to actual people, which is sacrifice, discipline, the struggles with devotion, and falling behind, they flatten the priest into a scandal generator. It's always the same, oh my god, like he's too attractive, or he breaks his vows, or oh no, he's been evil the entire freaking time. It just reinforces the idea that religion is just a mask for corruption and hypocrisy, and I won't be a liar, I won't be an idiot, I won't be a fool. This is often the case. This happens in real life. Duh. Well, I'm going for realism, so the priest is evil. Shut up. Shut up. But all of that, it cheapens the real life meaning behind those roles. Priests are more than a gimmick, but the hot priest trope, it says, nah, he's just here to look good, be sinful, and secretly corrupt. He's just like, he's not even a priest for real. He's just a man wearing a priest costume. He's an actor. Priests in the Catholic Church have been known to have done heinous things. And if your story is exploring those themes, sure, whatever, go ahead. But they're people? And people do heinous things? To like slap a single label on someone and be like, okay, so in my mind, Christians do this, let me just go with that. Instead of actually going in the streets and be like, hey, are you a Christian? Do you represent Christ? Are you a Christian? And asking them questions and actually getting to know what it means to understand the faith. You're like, I'm gonna make this a really, really, really hot show because I'm gonna make it super taboo and sexy that the priest is like very sexually active and going out and being weird and doing wrong things in the eyes of his religion. Why are you still in there? Get out! Aside from that, I fully believe misrepresentation is the bane of human connection, and to misrepresent anyone, gay, straight, Christian, blind, disabled, like, is just a wrongdoing on humanity itself. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of seeing people be misrepresented in general. Why are you generalizing people? Why are you being discriminatory? Why is this your lifestyle? Why did you go outside this morning and be like, how can I do anarchy in a small amount? Where are the microaggressions? I would like to purchase them all. Me personally, when I'm writing about something that I don't fully understand, I go out and I find the people who do. And I think that if we all did that, if we all knew to do that, things would be a lot better. I'm always reaching out to those who I know who are of the demographic. If I've been hanging around a specific set of people, I'll ask what their lifestyles are like. I think that that's normal. You get to know people and you care about them and you ask them questions. And then that's a new opportunity to make friends. It's a new opportunity to so on and so forth. But misrepresentation is genuinely, as I said, the bane of human connection. Reaching out to accurately represent someone shows that you care. It's real kindness. It's caring enough to properly shed light on the things that you don't understand. The whole hot priest thing is just weird to me, and I think you're a bit weird if you're licking your lips at the idea of being taken advantage of by someone who was supposed to guide and protect you. Go seek help. Go get that fixed. It's not edgy. It's not cute. It's not hot because it's forbidden. It's disrespectful. It's tired. And it says more about lazy writing than it does about faith, because you're not even actively trying to represent the people who are actually doing this on a daily basis. Do better. Those were a few tropes I cannot stand. Now, do I still love fiction? Of course. I do still binge webtoons. I do still binge webtoons, roll my eyes at villains, and like I always yell at the TV when I see the hot priest reveal. But yeah, I still enjoy fiction because even though these tropes annoy me, they remind me what I do value in storytelling. That is characters with depth, villains with a purpose, and representation that actually means something. But until I actually get to feel satisfied in some way when watching TV fully, I will be here hating the tropes that I hate, but with love, of course.